How's it going? So once again, yes, I'd better come close up like this. So basically, first of all, I want to start off by saying how much needed it would have been the video that the latest video from surviving narcissism from Dr. Carter. Um, I guess 5 months late doesn't help, but that's exactly the type of stuff. So I'm talking passive aggressiveness. To me, it was new because for most part, I've had to deal with overt narcissists or covert, but the ones that were covert weren't girls that I was dating, right? So for me, the passive aggressive, silent treatment without any reason to do so, other than trying to control and even with, I'm actually quite proud that even with lack of knowledge, I still got rough ideas and still don't. I had to expand out into the rest of my relationships and pretty much my entire network, as it be, my entire support network to act in the same, which again was very unfortunate, but it basically just exposed them all for who they are and how easily, whether that they're fully blown narcissistic personality disordered or whether that they've done it temporary because they're so weak. There's the just the end of it. That happened. So yeah, just like anything, it's a two-way street. On one side is bad, but on the other side you get to see things for what they really are. And now to get into some of the explanation for all of the unbalanced, just I don't know, like nonsensical, how should we, artificial ways of life that we have today. Because if you got balance, harmony, being made out of flesh and bone, um, it wouldn't be this artificial. Wouldn't be. It wouldn't. People wouldn't even talk about this stuff. Like it'd just be like, and that's why today you see more and more things that used to be basic. No one used to talk about way back in the days, and now they talk. Whether it's food, whether it's exercise, so on and so forth. There used to be a time when people used to just live their lives and they'd be healthy, happy, and for most part, you'd always have all manner of things that weren't so correct. But at the end of the day, overall, are we better off or worse off? Because I think we're worse off. So it's come around to bite everyone in the ass. So on average, based on statistics, somewhere over 2,800 hours in someone's lifetime, and I'm presuming it's like 65, right? A lifespan of 65 hours that people spend on sex, and that we're talking like the low end. And I'm guessing these stats are taken from people from even the last century or something, right? Like how else could you do it, right? And then I'm presuming that is purely just the couples having sex, right? Then they probably haven't added in, so there's not the overall sexual activity, right? From the age of, I don't know, when you're 12 or whatever it is that you start masturbating or something like that, right? And you add all of that in. But if let's take that a number, let's say that's a number, right? If you break that down, it works out to something like around 50 hours a year. And then if you take away those hours, right, out of a year, it's just like all the other health things. even psychology, so on and so forth. You have to spend that time. You can't escape it. So then if you force someone, right, through artificial social engineering or something to not have that, then can you blame them if when they you know like what is, so I'm making the argument here, or I'm asking the question: if you suppress people's needs, because it's a need, right? A desire is when it goes above that 3,000 hours, give or take, in a lifetime. But the average, the base is 3,000 hours. So if you take away if you force someone so that they're robbed from those 3,000 hours, right? Are they going to be able to perform on that without any consequences, right? So if you take away the 50 hours a year over like 10 years, say, so they're in a deficit, say maybe not 500 hours, well, let's say they're in a deficit of 250 hours. And then they meet the woman of their dreams, right? Or the man of their dreams. They have children. What are the chances that they will start being promiscuous, even though everything is perfect, but they're carrying the deficit from years before? So to the social engineers, to the so on and so forth, are they taking this in account? Because they're making changes and they're doing things, but then I don't think they're taking. I've said this and I'll say it time again. They're not taking into account the liability. And what are they doing to counter this? Because again, these 3,000 hours is genuine, like sex with a partner. It's not masturbation. It's not watching OnlyFans. It's not, I would presume like 1 hour of quality sex would equate to something like 10 hours of masturbation with high quality, OnlyFans or whatever it is. This is just my presumption and assumption, but there sure is a massive difference in terms of quality, in terms of physical and chemical and psychological return on masturbation and watching porn versus genuine interaction in real life. So when are the professional going to talk about this stuff? When are these problems that obviously they're stacking up and stacking up and stacking up? For me, it's because I've found means of not being confused in terms of all the questions about psychology and people's behavior and all of this. Like, I pretty much got an explanation that makes sense for all manner of behavior out there, my behavior, so on and so forth. And I do whatever I can to create some quality of life, as it would be, to stay away from falling into lifelong disorders, all right? Like, for example, even in that, so I think it goes both ways, right? So if you meet someone that is the life mate of your dreams and you're having children and all of this, I would take in count, like, am I in deficit in terms of those 3,000 hours? Am I in advance of those 3,000 hours? Is she in a deficit or an advance? And then let's make those ends meet somehow. And then once we've caught up on that, how do we feel about it? Like, are we in tune now? Is there any truth and facts to this? So these are some of the things that really need to be taken into account. And it goes the same for all manner of other things. I mean, I think this is a very good approach to have. And why, um, for example, the likes of the attractive woman, that they get to have access to that a lot. And then at some point, obviously, they're in advance and they don't see much of a value to it. Of course, it's always going to, and I guess this is true for anything, right? Like if you've never had a pizza or if you've never had McDonald's and you see people enjoying it and you see ads and stuff, you're gonna go and really crave that, and you might even really enjoy it for a long while. But at some point, it just becomes like, yeah, you know. So I guess it's the same. It goes the same with that, and yeah, we how is society going to meet the balance needs, the lack of what, how they keep going on about equality. How's it equality if some people are probably reaching their 3,000 hour uh, of genuine, sex uh, by the age of, I don't know, 25 or 30. And then there's others that are probably in their 60s or whatever, on the verge of dying, and they've never achieved that. So it's, yeah, we is that equality. We is fairness, So that's where it's at. And this is part of the reason, as the gap increases. So as the beautiful ladies get more and more of that, um, and as the average men get less and less of that, and if we take into account that masturbation and porn, it's probably like 10 times less effective than being in person doing it, then the porn and that side of things will increase tenfold. Then again, the 3,000 hours will be met very quickly by the ladies, won't be met by the men. And that's how these dynamics are created, and how guys start being creeps, right? Even though they're just trying to meet their 3,000, 50-hour a year standard, they're probably not even meeting 10% of that, a lot of them. Of course, there's the 10% of men that are tenfolding that, right? They're tenfolding that. And that's how this extremism and absolute, like, let's face it, is absolute lack of equality, is the ultimate lack of equality. And how is this in relation to the equality promoting people? How is it enabled? Right? How's it enabled? How can you sit there with a straight face and say that you promote equality, and in the same time you do things that do the stuff that absolutely demolish equality, right? They keep pushing these things apart. And if we're not going to look at sex and just look at emotional needs and connection and family and so on and so forth, how can the ladies that quickly make their 50-hour a year. So put it this way: if they're having like 2 hours, no more, they'll have more than that. If they're having 5 hours of sex a week within 10 weeks, so in 10 weeks that's 3 months. So by March, in a year, starting January, starting New Year's, by March, they've already pretty much had all the sex that they need to have for the whole year. Then the rest of the months, they'll be sitting there upset, whether they're still having sex or not, they'll be sitting there upset that their emotional needs are not being met. And if we are to, I haven't looked at this statistic, but if you are to look at the statistics of um, genuine care, right, aka love, but as we've all witnessed, you can get that from talking to family if they're being nice to you, from spending time with friends and family, going out eating or whatever it is. But again, genuine. And how many, because it's just like masturbation and porn for the guys, I'm guessing some girls as well, compared to the uh, genuine. So you probably need, for 10 minutes of normal sex, you'll probably need 100 minutes of masturbation and so on and so forth to meet your biological, chemical, and psychological needs, so that it's on the same level, right? So then if you take that and look into the um, trust making, connection making, care for one another. And if you've got fake versus genuine, right, you probably need, again, something like tenfold, right? So you need 100 more people. You could have you could have one genuine friend and spend 10 minutes caring about one another. I don't know, stopping for lunch as it be, and genuinely having a genuine conversation. Oh, how you doing? Oh, like, I'm a bit upset about this and that. And they're like, oh, true. Well, maybe try this, And you're like, what about you? Oh, I'm doing great. Ta-la-la. Genuine, right? Versus, I don't know, interacting on social media and just memes and laughs and just all fake. And yeah, this what I'm saying here, it totally makes sense about the dynamics that I see out there, and the in what ways people are changing, basically. So yeah, it already is there, but I think it's only going to be on the increase of men need, well, everyone in general needing more genuine connections, and to be able to, opportunities to be able to build genuine trust and meaningful connections. Um, but obviously, if you're having, so so for the ladies, if they're having their emotional and genuine connection needs met by a large amount of disgenuous, likes and so on and so forth, and communication. So instead of, and a lot of times it's very tricky, and they'll choose that, right? If they've got the opportunity, they'll choose that. So they'll choose um, to sit on social media and talk to people that they might not even know if they're getting the adulation and this and that, for 10 hours versus spending 1 hour with someone with their boyfriend or whatever it is, right? Just as um, a guy will choose to look at porn where there's very beautiful woman and spend 5 hours on that, than to go and spend half an hour with some girl that they don't like. And you see this happening in real time. Like this has been happening for years now. And I'm going to leave it there. But it's becoming very, very, very clear where, how, and just the reasons and the mechanisms of how society is being driven into the ground. on purpose, not on purpose, but it's what's happening.